All right, everybody. I would like to welcome Mr. Nick Khamsopa to Real Estate Bites. Did I say that correctly, Nick?
Yes, you did. Yep.
All right, excellent. And Nick is the president and co-founder of Hudson Housing Lifestyle, and they're attempting right now to build 5,000 units of housing in the Hudson Valley in New York State. And so, real quick, most of my audience here, Nick, is Northeast Ohio. I've got people that stretch from Pennsylvania. I've got viewers in California, but most of my folks are here in Northeast Ohio. And the reason why I felt this conversation was important is because, housing and specifically affordable housing, it's a problem in the United States, right? And I continuously talk to people about how do we develop more affordable housing here in Ohio, and our state has passed legislation. In 2023, they passed legislation to incentivize builders to build affordable housing. But as government oftentimes does, it's very clunky and difficult, and it wasn't very attractive to most developers. So much so that right now in the Ohio State House, they are working on new legislation to basically renovate and fix the legislation that was passed in 2023 to make it more attractive. You, on the other hand, have already started this process in the state of New York, and you're doing things. So I say all that to talk to my folks who are watching out here. When we hear New York, we immediately think of the city, but you're not necessarily working in the city. The two flagship properties that are projects that you have in pre-development right now are in the towns of Peekskill and Middletown. And I believe Peekskill has a population of about 25,000 people, Middletown a population of about 30,000 people. So these projects in these communities are something that's easier to wrap your head around because it's not this giant metropolis of New York City. So please explain to me, Nick, how, I know you did this in Florida. How did you start this process in the state of New York and in Hudson Valley?
Are you getting recording pause?
It froze.
You know what? Yeah, I like that discussion because you asking the right question, right? So in Ohio, if the government passed the legislation to assist in 2023, let me ask you this before you go in detail: how did the government, or how did the state assist Ohio with the affordable? Do they give some form of grant or subsidy?
Well, the subsidization came in the form of tax credits, right?
Okay, tax
So,
credit.
yeah, it was not. They were not
Okay,
granting
yeah,
dollars
I
out.
got it. I know what it is. So
Yes.
in New York State, the governor came in, launched a mission statement. Her first day, this new governor signed 1 million unit affordable housing. And then it passed legislation in April 2025 to build 800,000 units. But prior, in the last 3 years, it had implemented a massive momentum fund for affordable housing, which a grant subsidy that we have to build this affordable housing. As a developer, I build this market rate rental, but I have to keep it in an AMI. That's what affordability means. Meaning it's not a Section 8 or voucher program. It just meant that for a developer to be able to charge average medium income in the county, right? Quote unquote, my county is $2,400 for 2 bedroom, give or take, and then say Westchester is like $2,600 for 2 bedroom. I cannot charge above that. For me to be able to do that, we for the first time, the governor is actually launching a massive grant subsidy through the Momentum Fund, New York Housing Affordability. We can secure up to 40 to 45% of the grant money from her. That's how we can do it. We can afford it. And that's the most important thing. Couple that state, then you have local IDA who give tax and we're developing a TOD, which is we can get some of the capital from TIF alone, right? Transit-oriented development, TOD, because we didn't work in distance to train stop or bus stop, or we have train. Certain part of Hudson Valley have train stop that run through it, that take you right into New York City. Because where I live, we're about 1 hour, 1.5 hours north of Manhattan. So that's important to understand that. Now, the greatest thing about this is, President Biden passed a law for LIHTC financing, and then President Trump came and extended LIHTC. LIHTC is a tax credit.
Mm-hmm.
So with the tax credit in place for tax momentum fund, local IDA, and local municipality of this tax grant for when you stack all the capital together, we can secure up to 80% of the capital for a developer to come on to do this. And it's where New York State have this program. So year to date, the governor have $25 billion in New York State funding this type of structure. Her mission statement is 2030, 800,000 units must be built.
Yeah. So do you think without those subsidies from government that the mission would be possible at all?
No, not even close. Or I wouldn't be doing it. It doesn't happen. It's impossible. Right. And I'm glad you asked that question. Yeah.
Here in Ohio.
In Ohio, that is LIHTC financing. The first level, the first capital you need to queue. LIHTC is a 4% or 9% tax credit, meaning that if some Fortune 500 company, big, company or private institution sells something, or they have liquidated something, they have this capital gain. So what they'll do is they give it to a pool of capital investment group that take that money, and we pay them 6 or 7% on their capital. Instead of paying the bank, we're paying LIHTC. And they do not pay tax on that money. So in 10 or 15 years, based on the structure, when we sell the portfolio, we pay back the principal to that, to that investor who took the capital from. So that's approximately about $1 trillion in LIHTC. That's why President Trump extended, because his colleague is actually the one that asked for this thing. So they don't, the richest get richer. Instead of paying capital gain, they're putting the money back. But then again, you got to look at this way. When money spent in this community like this is 7-4 going back to local community. So it's a win-win for everyone,
Yes, sir. And the monies that are granted out, are those available to you for construction, for engineering, for planning, and for construction, or are those only granted post-production?
You know what? When you talk about engineer, architect, and pre-development, we call it pre-development. In a custom home, we call the capital for pre-development. It takes us approximately 6 to 9 months to secure the grant. So we raise the capital with Wall Street against that momentum fund or that grant money, and we secure the capital approximately 3 to 5 million per location to implement. So in 6 months to 9 months, when the project is fully entitlement, is fully approved with a set of drawing, because we spent about $2 million on drawing, we have come to municipality approve it, but same time we have commitment from the bank to close on the construction. So in 6 to 9 months, we're closing on the construction loan to give it to we part construction. And the best thing about this is we are exiting this to AFL-CIO Union Pension Fund. So Union Pension Fund Housing Investment Trust is standing by to purchase the mortgage upon completion. So the Union Pension Fund, AFL-CIO, purchased the mortgage, and then we get so much subsidy from the state. So we're doing this project 100% union for local jobs, must be local to stay local. So this is truly sustainable project for local development and local, labor force.
Yes, sir. And so tell me about the capital cycle. So you're raising funds on the front end to get through pre-development and to get underwriting done. At what point in time do you begin to collect the grant monies? And is that during construction? Is that after the property is built? You know what? So how quickly does the grant cycle turn around so that you can begin the next project?
That's a great question. So the strangest thing about this, most people, the way you speak is how they go from the bottom up. I went to exit. I say, hey, union buddy, I'm a union guy myself. I understand that housing investment trust was formulated. You guys funded close to 15 billion in portfolio, and you guys got another 20 million in escrow. If I build this for you, buy it. They say yes. I said, what bank would you recommend me to work with to do financing and construction? They give me two banks, and I have identified that bank, which is Merchant Bank, which is come out of the Midwest. Merchant Bank is going to underwrite the construction and then exit it to head, right? So that's done. Third thing is I need that momentum fund, right, which is 5 to 7 million to get started on this project. And I don't have that. So I went to and cap raise investment bank out of Manhattan to raise $100 million, which we just got term sheet came in commitment. The 100 million is to go in the pool to draw down 5 million per location. So allow me to ramp up prototypical 20 location in the next 18 months. That makes sense.
Okay, it does make sense. So
Yeah.
that's excellent. You said you went to the unions first, so that was clearly one of the key relationships that you had to develop to start these projects. Yes, we are having consistent technical difficulties here. So
Yeah.
let me repeat myself.
It's very windy where I am. It's like strong wind.
Okay.
I mean, you're probably getting the same thing. Like there's almost like a tornado that came in this morning. Like you look outside right now, you can see through the tree. Stop and
It
go.
passed through here last night. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. The same. I'm very interested in your question. That means you understand, because I've been on a lot of this podcast. So for to carry the conversation for your audience and for the public to know, there's hope out there, right? So with what when you're done with the conversation, I can explain to you what the federal government is doing.
Okay. Let me ask the first question again. What was the most critical relationship that you pursued when you began these projects? What was the first one? Was it the capital? Was it the contractors? Was it the unions? Or was it the government?
The union.
Okay.
I'm
Why?
I'm an ex-union guy. Union,
Mhm.
local union is what create the job. Local union leaders is what tied to local IDA, local county partnership, allowed it to be economic development for Hudson Valley economic development, New York State economic development, that local union. And on the other side, I have a lobbyist that is tied to the governor desk, that's tied to all these government agency. So both of those guys are dear friend and have a passion to help the governor. So it's a relationship from 35 years in the making. It doesn't happen
Excellent.
overnight.
Sure. Sure. So you approach the unions, you pitch them an idea, a vision, and you basically leverage the power of the unions to put pressure on government, to put pressure on state and county government to begin to grease the wheels of government to make these incentives happen, to make these programs available for the construction. Does that sound about right?
Yes, but you don't want to use the word grease the wheel because New York State passed a mission statement. So
Okay.
I'm just answering the call of the mission statement. Passed the
Okay.
legislation of 800,000. Out of 800,000, 160 to 180,000 is built already
Hmm.
turnkey in the last 3 years. I'm only developing 5,000 in my
Yes.
valley, right? So 5,000 of 800,000 is really nothing. But instead of doing this and trying to go out and take all the credit for myself. I want it to be a true community because I want to create jobs for my union, and I believe in union pension is what built America, right? Built road, bridges, infrastructure. So securitized asset, you went blank. So they're buying the markets for securitized asset. Allow that asset somebody standing by to purchase when it's completed. So that's very unique structure. Most people don't understand that. So if you want to develop something, you could tie up, you secure the property and you go into pre-development, and then you have to look for construction financing. And not only that, you have to find a permanent, and third thing is how you're going to build it. You know what I mean? If I do one location, I can say that's one, but if for me to scale this up prototypical 100 to 150 unit per location, then go big down from one town, one village to another village. And all these, by the way, the location is in Ohio Valley as well, is all abandoned building, was a warehouse or a mill, right? So all this mill or this warehouse is now dilapidated in the middle of the village. So the governor said, take that. I will help you with the zoning to expand the parking if needed, give you money for stack parking. And secondly, the municipality to upzone it if they don't have the zoning issues. We'll buy them a fire truck. So this way we can have housing, because it's a major issue. Because you don't have this affordability, the United States going to have a major problem.
Did you repurpose those buildings, or did they get torn down and rebuilt?
Some of them are repurposed. Some of them will be torn down to the ground, like an old structure warehouse. We do it. But some of these it's like a mill that is built with brick, with the historic look. So we'll go in there, we'll put the lintel in, and we'll put the star to hold the brick together, and then go inside metal stud there out to do electrical and mechanical. So we want to keep it integrity of the historic look, because all these portfolios are in the village, because they have access to water and sewer and electricity. We're not going into the township district and gouge the tree and cut the tree to plant a building going up, because that doesn't work. To make the truly integrated community, this 5 to 7 or 10 eatery, 1,000 square foot eatery, we want to put in a different ethnic city food. So you have retail downstairs and restaurant downstairs, and then 2, 3-story garden style above it. But yet these eateries open to the village, where we inviting the village to come in. So you have truly integrated community that you can walk to a bus stop or train stop. So it's just a true mixed use TOD development.
Okay, I want to ask one more question about the process, and then I want to ask you, I want to return and ask you about the building, what you had just addressed. So the chicken or the egg, which came first? The state of New York issues a mission statement to build 1 million affordable housing units throughout the state. Did that come with legislation, or did they then go and seek private partnerships to help them draft the sort of legislation that they needed to make this project work? Do you know what I mean, Nick? Did they say, hey, we have this mission to build 1 million units, here's the law and how it's got to be done? Or did they say, here's our mission, developers, come speak with us, and let's talk about what is it that the state needs to provide to make it possible for you to develop these units?
Yeah, that's a good question. When we first launched it, everyone in the right mind, majority of municipalities sue her, because he said, this is what I'm going to do, and here's the law. So I'm gonna rezone, I'm gonna upzone, and you're gonna have to do it. They're like, oh, I'm gonna sue you. Then when they find out what it is, everyone in all the municipalities is like, I'm open up, governor. I want this housing, because they think of Section 8.
Yeah.
Affordable is Section 8.
Right.
But this is a market rate. I am youth housing.
So just to reiterate, because we had that lag again, they came out. They issued the mission. They issued um, the law, and then there was some
Yeah.
back and forth between private developers to correct that law or to refine it to make it more easy to work with, or
No,
did
the
they
municipality. Yeah.
the
The
municipality?
municipality
Okay,
was
okay,
suing the state, say, I don't want this in my backyard.
I see,
But
I
they
see.
didn't know what it was. Yeah.
Understood. And then so it was local government that then started to work with state government to fix those up. So local
Yes.
government sought input from developers. How do we make
Yeah.
this thing work? And then local
Right.
government reached out to state government and said, this is the way the legals need to be structured to make this program work. Okay.
Correct.
Excellent. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're designing mixed use. Why mixed use as opposed to simply 100% residential units? Why restaurants and other things like that?
Because a lot of this village doesn't have that eatery, right? So the younger generation is you can't just build a box for them. You have to build a lifestyle for them, you know. So this food is we're not talking about big restaurant. We're talking about 700 square feet, 2,000 square feet, like a food truck type deal, but yet it's underneath the resident. So it's 1,000 square feet of Chinese, Thai sushi, cafe, whatever it is. That's the second phase that I'm putting together to make this prototypical across the Hudson Valley. So this way, when they come home from work, some of them may not want to cook, but they need a place to eat. So instead of going out and also have the town come and sit down and eat, in this eatery, because what draw the community is food. Food is what get the neighbor to talk about the neighbors. And without food, there's no true community. It's something from my experience.
Yeah, I'm filling this gap here. I love what Nick's saying there. One thing that certainly New York City, but New York in general is well known for is the walkability of neighborhoods, of communities. I know you have a strong emphasis on building these properties near rail lines so that people can leave their home, they can hop on the rail, they can go to work, they can do their shift, they can come back home. They've got a place very close to home that they can eat or shop. Everything is walkable. You don't necessarily need a vehicle, and that's a very intelligent and very effective design sort of protocol, because walkable cities are the most successful communities in the world, whether it's in the United States or overseas. If your town is walkable, if you can get everything you need within walking distance of your home, those are the cities that seem to thrive and really sustain themselves over long periods of time. And you're designing that, Nick, and that is a brilliant way to design. Another thing that you just said is you want to make it prototypical, right? So you design one thing, and for the most part, you can do that over and over and over based upon that model. Obviously, some details change based upon geography, location, etc. But you're basically designing the same sort of structure and lifestyle for the future residents.
It's a plug-in.
Yes.
We want it to be plug-in. We want to take this and encourage people in Ohio as a plug-in.
Yes.
I can't go to Ohio because I have to spend the next 30 years build that local relationship. But hopefully we can take this prototypical, go to a developer in Ohio that is already looking to do this and collaborate with them and plug into their system, bringing in the prototypical and bringing in our financial structure. So this way we can help, truly help uplift this affordable housing throughout the United States. We need it so bad. I mean, we can't even build them fast enough. Right now, my county was short 30,000 units.
It's the truth. I mean, I talk to people about the market all the time. I said there's only two ways that affordable housing gets relief in this country. Either the builders catch up, which is not going to happen anytime soon, or there's the worst case scenario, and that's a large job loss recession where people are forced to liquidate their homes because they can't afford it anymore, and that's not good for anybody, right? So housing is very unhealthy in this nation right now, and the things that you're doing, this partnership with local and state government is brilliant, and it's what needs to happen more and more around the country. And I would love to see people in Ohio take this on. And I'm going to begin to start trying to make connections to see if we can work things out. Before we hang up, Nick, before I let you go, is there anything else about this process, about the style, the structure, the capital that you think is important that people need to know? As soon as you come back, we'll get on that. The wind in New York. Right now, Nick is in the Hudson Valley of New York State, connecting to this broadcast. And that's, go ahead.
You know what? That's good. That's a great question, because for the first time in 65 years, if we don't do this, I call it national security, meaning New York State is doing this at a scale because we're losing so many talent. After the kid graduate, they're going to Texas, Arizona, they're going to Carolinas, they're going to Florida and Alabama, because the standard of living, the cost of living is so high. If we don't trap the talent, stay compatible for, right? So without headcount and workforce housing, you can't afford to compete against. New York State is ranked number 9 now on economic, and no different in Ohio. You know, I mean, Ohio Valley, you guys is not far away from us, and we're losing our youth and our talent. If we don't make it affordability, then it's going to be a major issue. So for the first time in history, Elizabeth Warren pushes the House to pass this Affordability Act, Housing Act, and President Trump just executed. So this program is coming nationally. I didn't know when it's coming nationally. That's why he extended LITech, LITCH. You can Google and look at that. He extended LITech program for the subsidy of the financing structure. So with that, you can take that, couple with local municipality to put on top of it to bring the cost of the construction down. Without the government subsidy, our future generation is going to be dead in the water.
That's excellent. Nick, I would love to reconnect with you and do this again when you're.
And I promise you I'll get a better connection.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really like the conversation. I really do. I appreciate it.
I do too. It's important to have these conversations.
Yeah. And you asked the most realistic conversation I ever came across. And I can tell that you're intelligent, because most people do podcasts just for marketing, but your podcast is asking the right question that impresses me and make me want to speak about more. I appreciate it.
These are important issues. As a broker, I think about it every single day. I might be the only real estate agent broker that people hear that says housing prices need to come down. They need to come down. I want to see Americans do great. I want to see my neighbors do great and succeed.
Yeah, me too.
And this is important. So I would love to reconnect when you're deeper into these projects and you're breaking ground, and now you're coming across issues real time. And let's talk about that, because every step that you're going through, there's something incredible and important to be learned. And I'd love to reconnect with you, Nick. We'll pick a different day when it's not so windy in New York State. We'll pick a time when you're deeper into these projects. And if you're open to it, again, I would love to reconnect.
Oh, yeah, I definitely would. We just committed from financial institution 100 million. So we're closing on 100 million to launch in 90 days from now. I think I would love to come back every quarter just to get you up to date to whatever it is, opportunity for me to be on, to network with the local. If you have a local developer that's interested in some, picking my brain, that's why my assistants Robbie, my assistants on here, that we want to collaborate. I want to teach them how to do it. What's the sense? I'm not here to say, oh, I'm going to charge you an arm and legs and then do a capital raise or cap. Listen, I went through 3 months of this guy. Because my background is private equity. I understand finances. That's very important to have that finance background to become a developer.
Wonderful. I appreciate it. I'm going to stay in touch. I'm really interested in what you're doing, and I want to continue to learn from you. I thank you very much for coming on today, Nick. We will reconnect in the future.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.